This week's theme is great. The great outdoors, great big guns, and great apes. Welcome to episode 20 of the Fallout 4 Mod Vault. The first mod I'm going to show you is called Campsite. Simple wasteland camping, and unsurprisingly enough, it allows you to build campsites in the Commonwealth. It allows you to build them in settlements and outside of them. To build them in settlements, obviously you use the settlement building menu, and you will find tents and sleeping bags under the bed section of furniture. There are a variety of tents, including double tents and single tents, and if you found a certain book in Sanctuary, you will also get different colours. The same is true of standalone sleeping bags. The tents are actually very cool in my opinion. I'm going to build this one here. This is a double. You will notice when I build it, it gives me two beds, as you would expect. The single, let's go for a red one, just one bed. If you look inside, you will actually see they already come with sleeping bags. You can actually place these sleeping bags standalone, and as you can see, it includes a variety of colours and patterns, including this stylish Vault-Tec one. You can also build beds for the dog. They come in a variety of colours as well, if you want a blue one. And dog meat will actually sleep in these. Okay, he's run off. Okay, I hope the mod author doesn't take that as a rejection, dog meat. But I can tell him to go and sit in the bed.
Go check that out.
Go and check that out. And he will go and sit in the bed and rest and relax. And believe it or not, when he falls asleep, you can actually hear him breathing. Yes, I have no idea why I'm still whispering. So, if you want to build some other things for your campsite, you can. Under miscellaneous, there are also some windbreaks, cloth walls. Perhaps you decide there's a wind coming in from that direction, so you want to place a couple of breaks here to keep the camp from getting too much wind. You can also go to the light section of power and find a campfire and a lantern, if you want to put a lantern down. Now, the tents themselves come already equipped with a lantern, as you can see, and they give your tents a nice, warm, welcoming glow. Obviously, the tents are there to be used, and if you do use them, you get some options. In this case, to sleep or even toggle the lantern. So there you go, I've turned the light off if you want to go to bed, and I can sleep in the bed. Pick a certain time and sleep through to the morning. Now, it might seem a little strange building tents in a settlement where you can build buildings with normal beds, but in actual fact, it's a fairly quick way of getting some beds that look like they've got shelter, they look kind of cozy, without having to spend too much time at your settlement. And I actually think it would be kind of cool to have a settlement that is just tents, a kind of camping site. But obviously the true strength of a mod like this is in its ability to give you little campsites out in the wasteland. You have to craft the pieces initially using the chemistry station if you are using the default version, but if you are using Armor and Weapon Keywords Community Resource, you can also have a patch that will allow you to create these items at that workbench. They come under camping gear, and there is a whole long list of things, including a few things that I haven't shown you yet. Once you've found a suitable campsite, to use these items, just go along to your inventory and the miscellaneous section. All of the items start with the word camping kit, which will make them easy to find. Then you just drop the item you want. It will drop at your feet, and there it is. Now, you can manipulate the item once it's been placed. You can pick it up, sleep in it, attach a lantern if you have a lantern on you, or you could move or rotate it. I will rotate it. I'm going to tilt it left, and it will tilt a little left, tilt it right, rotate left, rotate right. and so on. Now you might be thinking to yourself, wouldn't it be easier to use the same mechanisms as for the settlement building? I don't believe that is possible at the moment. Maybe it will become possible once the creation kit is out. I'm going to drop a fire kit here, and it's a little close, so I'm going to move it. Once you've got it placed where you want, you can even add a cooking pot if you have brought one with you, and the cooking pot acts as a crafting station for food. You can actually activate the campfire and pick the cooking pot back up, but you cannot do the same on the fire. You can extinguish the fire, but it will just disappear. I'm afraid there is no reclaiming your fire, so you probably want to bring a few of those along. You only need one cooking pot. You probably need to bring several fires. And you can even relax by sitting down or just warming your hands. I'm going to warm hands whilst kneeling, and you will get this nice little animation of your character kneeling. There you go. And now I can wait. It's as if I was sitting in a chair. However, if you've come prepared, you already have a folding chair, and you can sit in comfort. Again, moving, rotating, using it as you wish. And although Dogmeat seems to want to sleep in my tent, he does have his own bed. Although he doesn't look like he's paying any attention. You can place a lantern, and you've even got this simple tent, which apparently is now mine. And it's possible to get a fairly cozy and well set up little campsite. Now the fire will go out after a few hours, and you can restart it, but it requires one more fire. So again, bring a good supply of those. However, everything else is pretty much permanent until you decide to pick it up. So you can actually have this as a home base for quite some time. And if you're worried that you might lose it, you might wander off, forget where you left your little camp, don't. There is even a GPS beacon that you can drop on the ground and move around as you do all of the other objects. And then if you go along to your Pip-Boy and go under Data, Miscellaneous Quests, there is a campsite map marker. Simply select this, and you will now have a marker where your campsite is. You can only have one such map marker. If you've got multiple camps set around, I'm afraid you're only going to be able to mark one of them, although apparently the mod author is trying to get it so you can have more than one. This is a great mod. It's atmospheric, it's engaging, and of course it's extremely useful, and is only going to get more useful when we get these new survival features. Really am loving this, and I'm looking forward to seeing what improvements can be added. Last week I covered a mod that added targeting sensors to the recon scopes, and I loved it because although I do like the targeting sensors that come with the powered armor, I didn't like the fact that they were always on. Now, in response to that, a lot of people told me about a mod that I already knew about, and that was a mod that improved the targeting sensors to identify friendlies and corpses, but I didn't know it had been updated to actually toggle the effect on and off when you had your weapon out. So for example, you can now see the turrets glowing green and the people. I put my weapon away and the effect fades, which is perfect. You'll also see a couple of corpses glowing in blue or purple, and two hostiles, don't worry, they can't detect anything, glowing in red, but the effect switches off when I put the weapon away. So when I'm wandering around town talking to people, just generally living my life, they're not all going to glow bright red. But once I pull my weapon out and I'm ready for battle, I can identify where everyone is, and with this mod I can also identify who is and is not friendly. So I love this. This has actually made the targeting sensors useful for me, and I think I'm actually going to use them in my playthrough. Yet another really simple idea that makes such a difference. This for me it's just a must-have. This is a big gun. It's a really, really big gun. It's officially known as the WH MK22, but if you don't give it a real name and a birthday, you're doing it wrong. This thing really is a monster. It is massively overpowered, but oh my god, is it a lot of fun. Right out of the box, this thing is very, very powerful, but you can upgrade it with, well, quite a few things. It starts out as a 5mm, doing a lot more damage than the minigun, I must say. But you can also upgrade it to a 50 cal, which actually doesn't boost the damage as much as I thought it would, but still enough to be pretty much insane if you can afford to use this ammunition at this fire rate. It has a variety of barrels, long and short, ported and water cooled, compensators, muzzle brakes, bayonets, and even an assault combination of muzzle and stabby thing. And you can add gunner's sight and reflex sights. I will point out with the reflex sights, it doesn't quite look the way it looks with the laser Gatling, for example. The sight is angled off as though it were the gunner's sight, so that might bother some of you who don't like a sight that is angled. However, it works just fine. This thing is monstrously heavy, especially if you upgrade it to the max. The current one I have equipped is a whopping great 70 weight. And honestly, it looks pretty ridiculous if you're not wearing power armor, because the thing's bigger than I am. In many ways, this thing is probably the last weapon you will ever use. It is insanely overpowered. It is a lot of fun, and honestly, if you've done everything else, if you've got a character who's ridiculously powerful and already killing everything it meets, you know what they say, there's no kill quite like overkill. And finally, this. This is me in gorilla armor. This is strong in super goratant armor, and this is my power armor, which is somehow managing to look completely and utterly dejected. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you can now roam the Commonwealth as a gorilla. Well, technically a man in a gorilla suit, but hey. The first thing that came to mind was, oh my god, this is insane. Followed by, that really does look like it's going to be warm and a nightmare to clean. But then, I suddenly realised I was developing this urge to run around the wasteland, hitting things whilst dressed as a gorilla. The stats on the armor are pretty respectable, but I didn't see any options to upgrade it. The gorilla power armor, on the other hand, is pretty low protection, all things considered. You know, I've got 580, and it cannot be upgraded except for one thing. You can add a jetpack that has, well, as you can see, it does have a banana theme. Of course, because it's power armor, you can mix and match and have something with a little more protection and a bit of a Planet of the Apes vibe. Is this mod totally ridiculous? Yes. Is it a lot of fun? Yes. Do I now want a Liberty Prime size version of this? Yeah, I do. And I think on that note of insanity, we're done for this week. Of course, I'm going to end with screenshots that you guys have been posting, and thankfully these screenshots are a little more down to earth, and yet still as impressive as ever. If you want to actually submit screenshots for me to use in these videos, I have made a video showing you exactly how to do that. I will leave a link down below, and a big thank you in advance for doing so. Of course, I will be back next week with more mods to show you, some of them great, some of them small, and some of them just a little on the strange side, and I would love it if you could join me for that. I look forward to seeing you there, and until then, remember as always, have fun. If you're curious as to whether I've covered a mod in one of my videos, feel free to go along to my website gophersvids.com and check the search functionality out. Just type the name of the mod you're interested in, open up the settings and filter by mods only. Click for search and you will see whether or not I've covered that mod. Click on the mod and it will also show you any of the videos this mod appears in.